Hello, thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Thursday, August 22nd edition of our video devotionals, and thank you so much for joining us today. Hope your Thursday's going well, and we've got another beautiful day here in central North Carolina. It's kind of that hint of fall as we speak about, but I know we get a little bit more hot weather coming, but all that to say we're enjoying what we have right now. We're going to be in John chapter 4 today. We're going to begin in verse number 30 and read down to verse number 34. So if it is your custom to get your Bible, find John 4 if you will. Otherwise, thank you for watching the videos. We appreciate everybody who watches and responds in any form or fashion, and thank you for that, okay? All right, so I want you to notice here, John 4, of course, is the infamous chapter about Jesus meeting with the lady at the well, the Samaritan woman. She gets saved, and she goes into the city, tells a lot of people they believe. Some come back to Jesus, and they believe based on his own interaction with them. But a pretty powerful story. So here's what happens within that chapter once that is finished. Notice verse 30. Then went they out of the city and came unto him, they being the disciples. Notice verse 31. In the meanwhile his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. Therefore said the disciples one to another, Hath any man brought him aught to eat? Now notice here's this great spiritual application here in verse 34. Jesus saith unto them, My meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. It's like they were very concerned he wasn't eating, and maybe it taken a long time. You think about the conversation with the lady at the well and all that conversation, and then the people coming back to him. They said, look, let's make sure the master has something to eat and he's eating properly. You ever had people that just don't like to eat or don't eat on a regular schedule? They get busy, perhaps. Sometimes children, they don't like to eat. So, you need to eat something. You ever told a child that? I was never that kind of child. No one ever, I don't think has ever in my life said, hey, you need to eat something. Unless I was in some busy project maybe. But for the most part, 99% of the time, I don't have any problem wanting to eat or getting something to eat. And that's probably a deficit for me. But anyway, that's not the case. But they were saying you need to eat something, and who brought him something to eat? Because he says, in a way, I've got some meat. But what he was saying is, I've got to do the will of the Father. Notice the exact language here. He says here, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me. So to do that, to do the will of God, and to finish his work. All of us here, we have a life to live. All of us do need to eat to sustain life. I get that, and that's something that's for the most part a daily situation. Realize there's people in the world that do not have, they don't eat all they want to eat, and in some cases there's a lot of people that don't have what they need to eat. And you understand that. That's why growing up they'd say, look, eat everything on your plate, don't waste anything, and just based on the fact there's people that don't have anything to eat much, and there are people that do and have starved to death, and that's a very sad thing to think about. Almost hard to believe, and yet that's the case. But what about in the spiritual world? Imagine the starvation, if you please, that goes on when it comes to the will of God in our life if we don't do his will. If we don't finish the work. That's why it's so important that if God has something for us to do, we should also finish it. And for the most part, when you got saved, a work began, not just in your life to make you who you need to be, but the will of God that is involving, obviously, reaching others and being an influence for others. And that work does not end until the Lord returns or you and I leave this world via death. So what I'm saying is, as much as we do put a priority on eating and getting food, then we should also do the same thing for the will of God and make sure that as much as we eat today, some people do eat 3 meals, some people eat 1 big meal, some people eat 2 meals, you know how that goes. Some people do a lot of snacking in between. But the point is, eating really to keep yourself alive, that's obviously important, and it's a priority. But let's also make it a priority to do the will of God and to finish the work that God has for us. And that's the meat that we need to be concerned about also. Well, we're going to stop right there. I hope you have a great day, safe day, healthy day, Lord willing. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday, another last day of the work week, and we do appreciate you. Thank you very much.